recipient of the Ramnath Goenka Journalist of the Year 2012 and having published more than 200 reports on the telecom scandal. He has played a vital role in the discovery of the 2G scam. Bringing information to the countrymen is a difficult task, and yet he does it effortlessly. We gnoTalks 2018 warmly welcome Mr. J. Gopikrishnan. So, would you like to enlighten us as to how you, as an economics graduate, ended up being a journalist?
A long journey. Actually, not economics. My father wanted to make me as a doctor. Both of them were college teachers. And I was medical and engineering. Engineering was a standby. And somehow I didn't get into any entrance. And I was below average student, or might be. I was, that I will tell all younger generation. I actually fall into college politics, which went into a lot of violent mode. Thankfully, the rest of India is not there. There in Kerala and Bengal, this kind of bloody violent thing. So we got immersed, our studies got wasted. And anyway, then I went to the same college. I jumped to economics. Then that's also like country's economics. Nowhere it reached. Then I shifted to public administration. And then I started studying India's very rare course, which rarely people pass, company secretaryship course. That is the only profession where less professionals are there. And I started my first job as a stock exchange sub-broker. Then that time, Indian stock exchange was not computerized. So all the frauds were happening. It is just like the fish market. You can make all the nonsense. And that's why Harshad Mehta scam happened. Then it computerized. Then I just tested into import, where nothing is exported, nothing is imported. Then doing all this, I was a little bit interested in journalism. Then I started my career as a Doordarshan stringer. Then I studied professional journalism course. Then it went on. Because I was a late entry in the journalism. At the age of 28, only I landed the journalism. So there's a long gap in between. Maybe it must be a worse career graph. Those days interviews, same people will ask, "Kya kar rahe the?" So it is like I have to say I did this, did that. So the interviewer will look at me. Means job interviewer guy will look at me as typical case of a prodigal guy. So anyway, then I stick to journalism at present. Abhi 20 years past, still I am here.
That's interesting. So we have seen really a combination of anti-corruption activist and a journalist. What would you like people to perceive you as?
No, I actually not an activist or nothing, but I was forced to
raise voice against the system.
You wrote so many things. Then either I can think of sleeping. There is a journalism, there is a rule called file and forget, which I am not ready. File and forget, I am not ready. And then I engaged with, as far as 2G and other things, I got engaged with the similar people who were fighting these cases. One was, and I got two good maverick friends. One is Subramania Swamy and one is Prasad Bhushan. So that was a great protection insurance coverage for me, a firewall for me. Otherwise, somebody might have bumped up.
Sir, the 2G scam is considered as a breakthrough in your career as a journalist. After all that has been revealed, it is quite easy to trace back the discovery to you. So, how did you first conceive the idea that there were financial irregularities in the auctioning of the 2G spectrum?
See, actually, I never heard of, I don't know what was spectrum when this scam happened. So one day in our office said that, ये देखो ये मंत्री बकवास बोल रहे, लगता है चोर की तरह, और ब्यूरो से, so तुम उसमें थोड़ा ध्यान रखो. Then I started googling what is the word called spectrum. Then I said that, found that this, I don't know, your engineering students, there's this problem for spectrum. That's why it never happened. In a road construction, something happens, you can find. Public can find. Whether it happens in the mining also. Spectrum is an electronic wavelength which you cannot identify by touching or witness something. So it was stealing like anything. It happened. So thankfully, I'm not the first person. January onwards, people were telling there is something is there, something is there. But at the end of the day, Indian newspapers never gone further because in India's newspaper industry, media industry, 30 to 40% of the advertisement is coming from telecom industry. They controls the media industry. So nobody gone farther, but my paper was, thankfully we don't have a telecom advertisements. So these are all, I'm telling the practical things. And thankfully I got a whistleblower. So it was a luck. From whistleblower we got to know these are the things. So we started explaining these are the things. The so-called that time telecom minister, Raja, abhi chota bas gaya, High Court mein chal raha, will not leave. He was having an image of a poor man, Dalit and so. From the whistleblower, we exposed this entire set of hidden companies. Uske baad he stopped talking to media. So then we started what is the scam, how it is gone. Then lot of this is a long, but I always think it all happens. It's a luck. 2G spectrum scam was a luck to me. One rascal has did corruption, which I got also a limelight. But there are a lot of elements worked. This is called everything in career. There is God smiling, you can say. See, if I worked in some other paper, this would not happen. If my paper has not given me this job, these are all timings. That's why I always tell, luck is always a factor.
So the amount reported by the CAG was 1.76 lakh crore, but the CBI reported only 30,000 crore. It is not the first time CBI has gone silent. Why do you think such instances occur?
I'll explain as your engineering students. I have to explain this. See, nobody has read this CAG report properly. CBI, when it filed a charge sheet, I'll tell the case. First, left parties, everybody was telling 20,000 scam. Then left parties said that 50. Then Swami said that 1 lakh. It was going on. And CBI in its, that time when CBI raised that time Raja was smoking, 20, stock market 25, 30, 40, etc. So CBI is not a technical agency into that. And in 2009, when they filed the first charge sheet, after CVC's instruction, they said that approximately 30,000. So when the value was actually calculated by CAG, CAG has given calculated around 10 set of figures based on factors. First set of value was based on the corrupt two companies, Swan. First company, Swan, sold its shares 1,600 crore to 4,500 crore. That share value calculated, and they said that if this Swan company share value is calculated, This 40, they said that around 43,000 crore is the loss. Then they calculated Unitex value, because Unitex sold to 6,200 crore. So CAG calculated that as the second figure. Then there was another figure they calculated was, there was that time Aircel owner wrote to Prime Minister saying that I am ready to pay 1,700 crore, 17,000 crore as the pan-India license. So they calculated an operator's offer, and then they calculated the figure of the just concluded 3G auction. So that 3G auction value is the 1.76 lakh crore. But actual highest value CAG calculated was 4.86 lakh crore, taking the value of Ratan Tata's fraud with Tata Docomo. Because he gave a super value to Tata Docomo and he sold everything to Tata Docomo, and Ratan Tata fooled after Tata Docomo. Then Tata Docomo and Ratan Tata is now competing in the international court of cases. So this is the value, and I will come to the actual now 1.76, and then 2012 Supreme Court ordered compulsory auction where the government purposefully collapsed the auction. And I will tell you the case. Raja that time 122 licenses he has given, which is the highest in India. 25, 23, 30 ke upar nobody has. This man sold to 122. 122 licenses he sold at a 2001 price, where India's mobile users were only just below a million level, and he sold in 2008 when the mobile as the 300 million it be crossed, and that time 122 licenses he sold for 9,200 crores. 122 licenses, and Supreme Court cancelled, and this collapsed auction of government purposefully collapsed the auction. That auction, the government sold only 19 licenses, and that 19 licenses through auction, Raja never did auction, Government of India got 9,800 crore. Raja sold 122 for 9,200. With just 19 for auction, that too no major. And then next, that time all telecom operators united. Then the exact auction happened in 2013 end, 2014. UPA time last auction. And that value is higher than 1.76 range. Just few licenses, Government of India got 68,000.
So the scam occurred in 122.
And after, due to this auction, 2010 onwards auction, Government of India, till the last previous year's auction, Government of India got 3.6 lakh crores. So what is the point of abusing CAG? They showed you the correct thing. You can abuse Vinod Rai like anything, but CAG, it's not Vinod Rai. Media's problem is that they've gone on a so small, one man. CAG is an institution, Indian Audit and Account Service. There's a committed officers, professionally trained auditors. It's a great organization, constitutional body, and they, thankfully they don't need to care anybody. It's neither under government, nothing.
No bureaucracy.
No, it's a special service, Indian Audit and Account Service. It is under Comptroller and Auditor General of India, which is a constitutional body appointed by the President, and there is no transfer. Look at the police officer. Allahabad SP can be shifted to any area, but there is it's not possible. It's a structured organization. It's an audit. See, parallel democracy means there is an organization called auditing. This is an auditing organization, but thankfully we came to know CAGs only through the scams only. They are doing a lot of good works. not only they are doing audit, they have a performance audit is there. It's not accounting. That's why Supreme Court says CAG is not your Munimji. CAG is not your Munimji. They have a good team. They gone to engineering audit. They gone to performance audit. Everything. And CAG reports, you people should read. It is now online available. Every CAG report you can read. There may be differences. In India's process is when a CAG submits, then it went to Parliament. And then Parliament's, after a small debate, Parliament's Public Accounts Committee will review this CAG report and tell the government do this, do that. But sadly in Indian politics, CAG reports were not debated professionally. I think after 2004, no CAG report has been debated in our parliament because it has to be debated. That debate never took place. They just create chaos, and then in the PAC also they create polling by voting percentages. And then that is not happening. That's the saddest part of our democracy.
So you have stated that these stories that you broke out were only possible because of your editor. So I wanted to know how important an editor is to a journalist, and would you describe your editor to us?
If you know cricket, what is the role of a captain and coach? If you are in the sailing, what is the role of a ship captain? And the editor is the controller of the, what do you say, patriarchal figure. Girls don't offend matriarchal figure also. So, editor is the head of the team, like what you can say, your college dean or principal. Somebody should be a headmaster. Another, it's a glorified headmaster or something. It's there, but sadly in Indian media, editor is becoming sidelined somewhere. It's because of that kind of personalities are also less in now the Indian media. So many humble babies have become the editors.
So like Times of India, it doesn't have an editor for 25
years. It doesn't have an editor for
years.
25 years. Girilal Jain ke baad, nobody they appoint an editor. And they will appoint for first page ke liye editor, second page ke liye editor, third page ke liye editor. So joke is, there must be editor T, editor sweeping, editor super editor, bathroom cleaner, sabka destination editor kar liya. So that's the biggest problem. So you may see earlier there were Indian newspapers as were called editorial. People used to wait what is that editor's opinion on each and every subject. Now Rafael or any election or weekly editor has a say. Now what we say after 90s, we have seen the editors are talking about yesterday what they have eaten, what they have drunk, what kind of barbecue they have consumed in others' money. This kind of nonsense they are writing. Earlier editors used to write. See, Girilal Jain was terminated because he wrote an editorial saying that ये बकवास बंद होना चाहिए because Ram Mandir has to be constructed. Then these issues will be settled. So that time Congress and everybody used in pressure, and the management is also looking for him how to kick out a mammoth elephant from this home. So they all decided to do it.
So why is it that government interventions in such cases as Girilal Jain are not publicly, the common man does not know about such things. So why do you think this happens?
It's not a government intervention, and you said that public does not know. Public don't know so many things. Public don't know so many things. Look at our history books. Still our history books tell us as if Jawaharlal Nehru has been elected by Everybody appealed to him to become the Prime Minister of the country, and he became the Prime Minister of the country. What this happens? There is a book called written by Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad. What does that book says? After 1946, Britain decided through India Independence Act. British Parliament passed an act, India Independence Act, and India Independence Act 1946 decided to give to the power to administrative power to ruling administration change to Congress Party. So they asked the Congress Party, select your Prime Minister. That time India has 16 Pradesh Congress committees. So Sardar Patel and Jawaharlal Nehru contested each other. Out of 16, 12 PCCs selected Patel. 3 PCCs, nobody won. Tie happened. India's Chota PCC, the Delhi PCC. They waited for entire results and they did a nonsense by declaring that we should not have gone for election. Bapuji should have selected who should be our Prime Minister. Pura election, Ullu Baradia and Bapuji selected every PCC failed guy, Panditji. And it's still a letter. Mahatma Gandhi wrote something. He got annoyed with Nehru and he wrote, "You don't be too smart. You never won from, no PCC has selected you." So these are all books, letters, everything is there. Why public? Public is not at all aware because Indian public, see, look at our books selling. Our reading, even though our literacy levels, reading levels, are still not yet gone. Even though internet and other things are there, we may read nonsense from our great WhatsApp University trashes every day, but we don't go to the books, libraries. See, these things is written by Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad's How We Master Freedom or something. And that book, he said that this book has to be published only 30 years after my death. And he said that I am the drama maker in this selection, making this statement, said that let Bapuji decide why we are contesting election. And I did greatest sin to Sardarji. So these are all written things. So there is, never believe this, everything what media and others, you have to go through the public. And whenever you get time, Narasimha Rao's book is there, Ayodhya. It tells how people are fooled, the media is fooled. So it happens.
So we already know that the Supreme Court has the ability to review its verdict, and in the past it has quite often done so. Are you expecting the same for 2G case?
No. Supreme Court has cancelled all licenses and conducted auction.
Okay.
And Supreme Court has posted a special trial court. We have a special trial court on a daily basis. But somehow, even though it was a daily basis, it went up to 6 years. All of a sudden, somehow, the trial judge says, Jolly LLB की judge की तरह, he says, हम दिखाई नहीं दे रहे, मेरे को कोई, because their job was only to look at the crime part. The same judge who put the persons without bail for 16 months in jail now says, I could not find anything. Because that's, anyway, let us see how the High Court says. It's a very bad judgment and it's a nonsense judgment. That's the correct word. It's a trial court, but main things have happened. High Court has cancelled and the entire auction has been ordered. Now Government of India cannot do any nonsense in the allotment of natural resources. Everything has to be auctioned. Every area they have to auction, whether in land, whether land allotment, everything is auctioned up to the presidential reference. This is a part of a trial case on the criminality of the concerned persons. So, and that charge sheet also a little bit diluted because that time Chidambaram was avoided, only this Raja and the judgment, he wrote a trash judgment. At the end of the day, he himself wrote in other judgments, I have all evidences. And then he himself framed the charges. Then he conducted the trial. Then he asked 1,800 questions to the accused. At the end of the day, it's a huge crowd deal, huge companies. And the poor judge was earlier traffic ASI. In his entire career, he was a Delhi traffic ASI. In his entire career, he has maximum give challan to Maruti ambassador level. He has never give challan to Mercedes Benz. This is chartered flights. So, uska bhi ek awqat ka issue hai.
Sir, so you said that Penguin Publications was going to release a book.
Yes.
So
I put a little bit pause because let this appeal thing come. Because I don't want to embarrass the investigators or prosecution or any stage. Let us chronicle. I can have one more chapter about this fraud judge also. Anyway, he's retiring.
So, you have made quite bold claims that there is no such thing as independent media.
Yes.
So, then how would you classify yourself as driven by the opposition criticism, by the state policies, or by some extent?
It's a misconception. In the word independent and all, misconception. Media is basically for campaigning, dissemination of news. So it is just like some guys say it's a halal chicken, either acha chicken, either broiler chicken. This is a kind of nonsense. It's at the end of the day selling point, and people will see. Everybody will simply say independent. What is independent? I can't understand. I am in 20 years. The so-called independent others. See, at the end of the day, our publisher who spent money in the paper will decide what should be our line of this thing. Otherwise, one or two times you can fool your publisher, then you will be terminated. So, what is this independent media? Where is this? Who are claiming independent media? India's 50% media is owned by political parties. In South, every political party has TV channels and newspapers. And otherwise, who is the biggest owner? Biggest owner is none other than Mukesh Ambani. Let us look at the 5 channels: NDTV, CNN, IBN, or News Nation, so many channels, major channels. Mukesh Ambani has a share. And look at the other areas also they are there. And see, the independent media is when you see a person boy, you can add good boy. So good is attached. Some person can see is a prodigal boy. Some person can is a bad boy. Sir. And the problem is, media also accuse each other. He is playing that, I play that, and we can't blame every media. Sometimes some newspapers. India's advantage is you cannot blank all the media. Sometimes Indian Express may break. Sometimes Times of India may break. बहुत गलती काम करने में भी छोटा-छोटा अच्छा काम होता रहता है. So that's the advantage. You cannot blank like Iran or Iraq or Saudi Arabia. You cannot put a Sarkari gazette and finish the thing. Only it happened during emergency only, and that emergency also. Ramnath Goenka went. There are a few papers, Ramnath Goenka, Statesman, some few papers stood up. That time also, all our writings will be checked by the press information officers. That time also it happens. India is a vast democratic country, so many opinions. And don't be negative, these are all just campaigns. Media is controlled by somebody. It's a democratic country where courts are active, and the actual problem is from these corporates. वो पैसा लेकर सारा जुगाड़ बंद कर. That's the problem.
So to wrap it up all, what message would you like to give to the millennials who have technology at their fingertips?
See, the current generation, like every new generation, you are all lucky people because you have a lot of technologies are there. But only thing you have to think is you should be honest. If you and I cannot make everything clear, or we cannot clear this or clean this world, but at least we can keep to ourselves. We should not lie. We should not do harm. But these are all you can say only. But I can only say be proactive in the working of the country. Be proactive. Be involved. The problem of Indians is basically we are basically rights-based society. We want all our rights, but we don't do our duty. Please do the duty also. And Americans, biggest advantages they are more concerned about our duty. We are only concerned about rights. Just like we ask questions, Modi ji is being so silent, and we keep ourselves, we don't do our backyard clean, we don't do our homework. So next, it will happen. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Those were some really amazing revelations. gnoTalks 2018 team is really privileged to have you here.
Thanks. I'm also very happy to have a free talks.